Hey guys, so I wanted to give you a quick example of how even just being aware of a mental block can cause you to then begin to autopilot something completely different. And this is a personal, very recent example, something I just made a video on, I think like not even a week ago. And I just sort of came to and realized what's been happening since then. And I'm somebody who's aware of this stuff all the time because I'm making this channel. And so these topics are like always on my mind every day. There's never really a period of time, as long as I'm making this channel, there's not a period of time that goes by where I just completely lapse back into 3D and just sort of forget about all of this stuff. So this has happened over the last week. I made a video, I'll link to it, talking about how in just discussing the topic of mental blocks, I had sort of started to, and watching Shlomo Friedman, another YouTuber, I had just kind of become aware that I had a certain mental block, sort of a hard limit that I had placed on myself when it came to my business, which at this point is a multi-million-dollar enterprise. It's something that provides me with a very large income by anyone's standards. And so I had just kind of viewed it as being capped out. I looked at my business as of 5 years ago, this has kind of come as far as it's gonna go with my capabilities. I don't think I really have the business mind to take this further, nor do I really want to develop it, the business chops that I'm imagining I would need in order to, there was just kind of this idea about the business has reached its end point for me. Not that it couldn't be bigger, or, somebody else couldn't do something with it, but I just sort of said, this is it for me. I had reasons for that. I've gone into that in some videos since then, but I just kind of became aware of it. And this was 5 years ago. And so sort of on that video and on the subsequent ones where I was talking about that particular mental block, I just kind of became aware that that's not really true. If I wanted it to be bigger, I'm sure I could handle doing what it would take to make, I just kind of realized, okay, those things aren't really true. And I probably felt that way at the time because I was in a much different place mentally at the time with regards to myself. A lot has changed since then. So just kind of revisited that idea briefly for that video. I got a bunch of comments on it. I got actually multiple messages with asking me to be parts of ventures that were ongoing, and I said, I'm not really interested. But that was just basically it, and that was maybe a week ago. And I just realized there's been this big thing for my business this thing that would make my life much easier. I mentioned in one of the videos, I'm still working at my business, and there are things that I could automate that I haven't automated. Why, I don't know. I just haven't, it doesn't take very much time, but I haven't automated it. It would make things much more streamlined, and it would bring in more money because it wouldn't be relying on me to do something all the time. It would just automatically get done, because sometimes I don't do it. So made that video, dropped that video, totally went back to my normal life, which since then has involved a bunch of other things. Matt's mom is moving. We were in his hometown, helping to pack some of her stuff up. It's been like a busy week since then. And just without even making the connection, this is how weird this shit is and how autopilot it is. Even when you're actively thinking about it, like making a video about it, I just decided, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna automate that thing. Not even like relating it to the fact that I had just talked about it. I just said, I kind of feel like I want to do that. I just feel drawn to doing that. I just started feeling like I wanted to do it. I knew, I needed to collect all this information so that I could set up a program and do all this stuff. And instead of it seeming like a big pain in the ass, like it has every other day of the last 10 years that I haven't done this, all of a sudden I just felt like I wanted to do it. And so I've spent the last couple nights at home, sitting there with my laptop, just sort of engrossed in this task. It didn't feel like work. I didn't feel like I had to put any effort into it. I just wanted to do it. I even stayed up like a lot later than I would have last night doing it. Just because I wanted, I felt this drive to do it. So that's what happens when you even become aware of something. Stuff starts to autopilot. It's just so mind-blowing to me. I was thinking about this, this morning. It just kind of hit me. I'm like, dude, I just talked about that stuff a week ago, and now I've completed this major task that I've had in my mind to do for years and years and years, and just the task of getting it done, which only I could do. I couldn't pay somebody else to do it. This needed to involve my discretion. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I just did it. And this will certainly result in a major bump in business for my business, which I think really it's, when you look at it from, when you kind of look at it from an analytical perspective and a rational perspective, it makes sense that, I was not doing this thing because I knew it would bring in more money, that taking it out of my hands and having to rely on me to do something every day that can just be done automatically, obviously that's going to result in it getting done 100% of the time and more money will come in. And I think in my mind, I was just like, yeah, but I don't really want more business to come in. We're sort of at our max. We're at our cap. Any more business coming in and I'm going to have to change. I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to hire somebody. I'm going to have to go outside of my comfort zone. And I'm not really sure that, I want to do that. I'm not really sure the effect that's going to have on my life. I'm not sure if that's going to cause more stress. Just all of that stuff that was sort of bundled in with the limit that I had placed on this whole thing. So even just looking at the limit and saying, is that really a limit? Like, is that really true? Maybe I am ready to do that now. Maybe I can do that. Maybe I am capable of that. This thing automatically happened without me even realizing what was happening. It was just like it was almost like when you pick up your phone and just start playing some dumb game on your phone or something. That's how I felt about doing this. I was like, I just feel like doing this thing. So there you have it. There's a good personal example that just happened without me even being fully conscious of any connection between that and this aha moment. So imagine all of the things that are going on in any and every person's daily life like that. Everything that is happening, just the things you feel drawn to, the things that you feel repulsed by, they're all coming from this giant complex structure that is built in your mind about what you're capable of, what you want, all of the different facets of what's making up, your world. They are autopiloting you. Even when you're kind of aware of what's going on, even when you're pretty self-aware. It's funny, sort of a tangent quickly, but I love Scott Adams. He's the Dilbert comic creator, and he does a live stream every day, and I just love him. He's a lot about psychology, and a lot of people I think kind of reject him because he predicted Trump would be elected, and he's kind of a Trump. He's not. I don't know if I'd call him a Trump supporter exactly, but he's not just like your rabid Trump hater typical person. And I just love him because he is always saying interesting, thought-provoking things. He's into hypnotism and persuasion and stuff, which I find really interesting. And he was talking about how there's been a lot of propaganda around Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, throughout this war stuff, throughout this this invasion that's happened in Ukraine. And he was talking about how he's aware of the techniques that are being used to make Zelensky everyone's hero. Like, he's pointing out all these things that are happening, like that are being done purposely to make Zelensky a hero in your eyes and to vilify Russia and all that stuff. And what he said was, that I found really interesting, is that he's completely aware of all these techniques and what they do, and they're working on him anyway. He's completely aware, and he finds himself being manipulated, even though he's completely aware that it's happening. So your mind is very pliable. I found that really interesting, and I think we can see examples of that everywhere. How even when you're aware of things, your brain is still going to function the same way. It's still going to autopilot you, or your whatever you want to call it, your brain or whatever that is that does that. Your subconscious mind, which I don't even know if that's even a real thing. I think that's just a concept. Anyway, I hope that was at the very least interesting. If it didn't do anything to help anybody, but have a great day.